that looks way better. I mean, still has a little indentation right about, you know what, never mind, it's there. It's very faint, but I'm satisfied with that. I mean, geez, you know, you see that smudge right there, that whole kind of oval right there on the top. That is the where it was pressed down at. So, well, other than that, it looks good for now. I mean, like I said, I could deal with that, but you know, just hope that when it is all said and done and it's all cut out and all on the aircraft and I'm out in the field and the sun is beating down on this thing, hope it doesn't just go right. Alright, welcome back to Bayona's RC World. Today's video, we're basically going to start on the fuselage, you guys. Alright, unfortunately, I couldn't finish the wing. I couldn't do the top sheeting of the wing because we're still in limbo when it comes to the actual retracts for this aircraft. I'm looking probably at Robarts, but hopefully I could get those in. Hopefully they're available, and hopefully I'm not on a waiting list. But it is what it is, and so therefore I cannot close or enclose that wing until I get at least, let's say, even the air system, the air tank, you know, with all the lines, the hoses and everything, so I could reroute them or route them properly inside the wing before we can actually sheet it. All right, so in the meantime, instead of just stopping the build and waiting for that to happen, why don't we just start on the actual fuselage? All right, so without further ado, let's get into the actual build of the Top Flite P51D Mustang fuselage. All right, let's get into it. All right, so I went ahead and I did one side of the actual fuse off camera. All right, just to kind of prepare it and get it, you know, all done so I could show it to you. All right, so this is basically one side of the fuselage. Now, it doesn't matter which side at this point. It will matter when we start gluing all the doublers in. All right, so make sure you don't build, when you're doing the doublers, make sure you don't put it on the same side on both fuselage pieces. All right, make sure you got one facing this way, the other one the opposite direction. All right, so when you put the doublers on and you mend both together, the doublers will face inside. All right, but anyhow, this is basically the fuselage size. Now let me go ahead and bring you closer. I'm gonna go ahead and see what we're doing here. All right, let's go take you in closer here and see what's going on here. All right, so we got our actual fuse sides. All right, I went ahead and off camera just wrote out what these parts are on the actual sheet. All right, so we got your upper forward fuse side, we got your upper aft fuse side, lower aft fuse sides. This is your lower forward fuse side, and this is your radiator side. All right, all this put together will basically create your actual fuselage side. All right, so with that said, this whole top part right here is just a straight line from the front of the aircraft to the rear. All right, so if you put your straight edge right there on the actual crutch, I don't know if this is what this one is called. Yep, forward crutch. All right, because this right here is technically a straight line. All right, go ahead and match up your pieces to the plans and get it as close as you can. These two get put together. So if you have to sand this joint to get this actual upper aft fuse side to line up with this straight edge, then that's what you're gonna have to do. All right, so make your little fine tweaks to get this side to follow the plan. All right, to be straight right up here at the top, but yet all the notches and everything are falling in place. So don't over sand it where you end up making either the notch too short, making the actual whole fuse side, you know, shorter than the plans, etc., etc. All right, so very little. All right, just fine tweak it. So right now everything here is straight right there at the top. All right, I got everything good to go. We're just basically dry fitting everything, right? Just like that. Looking at the seams, make sure we don't got big gaps, and if we do, take care of that with the sanding block, etc. All right, so if I basically squeeze this together, you see it's a nice seam. Go ahead and just dry fit all this together and make sure that your outline perimeter is within your plans. All right, your plan outline. All right, now you got to ensure that these two pieces, these two fuse sides, are the same in length and all that stuff. All right, because eventually you want it to be all even. So if you have to, sand it slightly just to get it to match up with each other, then that's what you're gonna have to do. All right, but ensure that everything is all the same. All right, so that is the key point right now at this point. This is a key point, yeah. So this is gonna basically set your foundation for the rest of this build for the fuselage. Because if this thing is off, if you got one side of this fuse completely different than the other, when you start putting all your formers and your doublers on together, you're going to have a crooked aircraft. All right, so spend time on making sure all this is straight and true and matching your plans. Because even if your notches are off, eventually you're going to make everything else off. All right, so let's get on to gluing all this together. Once again, I already sand all this, so this is the best that this is going to get right now at this point. All right, so this is basically what I'm talking about, these gaps. All right, now this is the best that I'm gonna do. As you can see, we are flush up front. All right, when we come back here, everything is squeezed together. Everything matches the plans, but we got a gap there. We got a little bit right here. We got a small gap right here and here, and eventually right here. But everything else, when it's all pushed together tight, it's nice. All right, but those parts right here, I can show you how I would do it, and it's pretty much how we got this to look like this right here, and it's smooth. All right, it looks like there's something there, but it's smooth. All right. All right, so this is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with these two pieces up here first. All right, let's go take this, put this to the side. I want to make sure that we get this main foundation right here nice and straight and matching up with the plans. All right, so my notches are matched up here and here, and it's up at the front of the firewall. Everything is good there, and it's also straight up top. All right, and this is the best that this fit is gonna be right now. All right, so what I'm gonna do, make sure everything is pushed down as tight as you can. And then from here, I'm gonna wick in some thin CA, just right about here. Come back and wipe it off to minimize the buildup of CA. Let's work on sanding. All right. I'm just going to do this. All this, the joints that are really touching each other. All right. It defeats the purpose to put it in the ones with the gap because you got a gap. So all that CA is going to go right through and then dissipate underneath. You'd be basically just covering the paper, the wax paper, or the cling wrap. All right, so we got that done. All right, so from here you can wait until it's all put together to sand it all at one time, or you could do it now, but just don't over sand it. I suggest that you do it after everything is put together. That way it's all, you don't have to worry about sanding all different pieces. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this part right here. Make sure it's flush up front. Make sure it's all touching. And then we'll go ahead and put the CA here. Because also, like, this one's thicker than this one, so it's, I can feel that ridge there, the difference in thickness. Is that gonna be a problem? No, because we'll just sand that. All right. And from there, we'll put this one on. Still making sure that everything is fitting around on the plans and everything. All right. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one glued. Make sure it's all touching. That one's kicking really quick. Alright, so if you don't care to see this part, just go ahead and fast forward. Alright guys, but I'm just leaving it for the new guys that's getting into building and stuff. You know, stuff, information like this, that'll probably be helpful for them. So just remember those times when you were once and you'd be in the hobby, your first build. Everybody will remember your first build, right? Everybody will remember the builds that you messed up. All right. Okay. Cool. So we got all this going. Make sure it's all straight. Everything is being pushed down. All right, so we got that going on. All right, guys. So from here, it's all glued together. All right, we got all that CA joints and stuff. Now we can go ahead and sand that. So if you have thick CA or you got medium CA, either or will be fine. All right. So what you could do is take your CA, your medium, like in this case, I got medium here, and I'm going to just fill in this cavity. All right. Just fill that in wherever you think you got a gap. Let that kind of wick in there a little. You can wipe off your excess, and you could come back with your sanding block. Yeah, I use this one over here, and yeah, just basically run your sanding block over the area. All right. And what you're doing is you're getting yourself a natural filler with its own balsa. Alright, so you do that. And those gaps are gone. You could come back with the little thin CA, kind of lock that in. Alright. And where else did I put that? Right here. And you can come back again. Just like that. Alright. This one right here. This balsa is thicker than this one, just slight bit, so I could feel that like a step up right here. Alright, but at the same time I still can feel a little bit of that gap. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and, you know, feel that just a little bit more. Alright, now instead of using the rag to wipe that, because I might wipe it off, use a little bit of that. There you go, smooth. All right, it's good enough for now. And eventually during final prep for your sanding and before covering and all that stuff, you can go around and use a little bit of, you know, lightweight filler and fill those areas up. Or you could do it now, you know, it doesn't matter. All right, so pretty much how we get rid of some of those gaps. And that's a strong joint regardless how you look at it, because it's CA and it's also, you know, sanding dust basically built up in there. So it's just its own wood, right? All right, so that's how we do that. And then you basically take this up, flip it over. And okay, so you see this is cling wrap, right? Glad's cling wrap. All right, that's what I'm using. And you saw the CA. You know, you see the CA here, right? But it did not stick to my my cling wrap didn't come off. If this was wax paper, you know, in 40 years of doing this, I always end up having to rip wax paper off in these areas. All right, and I always have to change my wax paper on the plans. But been using this cling wrap for a few years now, and I'm loving it. You know, don't have to worry about peeling off plastic over here, you know, so it's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of the rest, and then we'll get started with the actual building of the fuselage. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start gluing these doublers in. All right, so on the fuse doubler here, all right, this one right here, this piece, you would basically align it up with this mark. Let me go ahead and bring you closer here. All right, so this right here, this front piece of this tab will be aligned with the radiator scoop. All right, so just like that. All right, and that will set everything up all the way throughout the whole saddle. All right. So that will be your key indicator right there for both sides. All right. Place this back here. Zoom out, and let's get started on this thing in. So we got this one side, basically the right hand side of the fuselage, pretty much with all the doublers, right? Now, this is where double check before you start gluing the doublers on the second fuselage part, alright? So with that said, if you lay out your fuse like this, alright, you can go ahead and start gluing all your doublers on as such. And by doing this, once everything is ready to go, you will have a left and a right. So when you flip this over, the doublers are all both inside, and the fuselage is in the same direction and same plane. All right, because I have seen it in the past where you didn't do so, you weren't paying attention, right? And you end up gluing it like this, making two right sides. Alright, so do not do this, because if you glue that together and it's time to mend both fuselage sides together, you will have it completely wrong. And to rip all these doublers off of this sheet, good luck. Alright, you can try to use debonder and everything, but you're going to be using a lot. And more than likely the debonder is not going to get really down into the center portion of these formers or these doublers, so the chances of you ever taking it off perfectly is slim to none. Alright, I'm not saying it cannot be done, it's just going to be a lot of work. So to eliminate a lot of unnecessary work, make sure you have create a left and a right. Alright, so you can have it laid out like this, right? Or like this, even better. So all you have to do is go straight up, and that will also give you the key visual that you are making two opposites, right? Whatever you got to do, just don't make two of the same sides. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let me go ahead and double check what I'm doing, because since I'm trying to explain this on the camera, things can easily get glued on by mistake as well. Alright, so I gotta make sure that everything is golden before I start gluing. Alright, see? So there you go. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get this left hand side portion of the fuse doublers all glued in. Alright guys, so we got basic crutch down on the plans. Alright, pretty much as centered as you can, making sure that it also aligns due to the thrust angle. Alright, so make sure all that is also situated as well. Up front, everything is good to go and as close to the plan as possible. Right, if you have to sand your crutch area to match your plans, if you have some excess flashing or whatnot or material. All right, also verify all your formers based off the actual cross sections here. All right, that way you can see if everything matches up. If you have to make any adjustments on the sanding part of that, make sure everything just all aligns properly. All right, and then from there we will start constructing and building up the fuselage. All right, starting off with the crutch, the center servo bay and everything. Now I'm thinking of doing a full cockpit for this 1/7 scale. Not too sure yet, however I need to make that decision up ASAP before I start doing. I mean, I could build up the servo bay and everything just so it can get the formers right, and then from there I can remove that, and build the servo tray behind where the cockpit is at. So still can play with it. I just need to find out if I'm really going to do that or not. All right. All right. So the next thing we're going to be doing is formers F5, F7, F8, F9, and F10. Also F11. All right. All these formers, basically, we're going to drill a 3/16 hole in the punch marks provided here. All right, and this is basically going to be for the push rod mounting for the guide sheath to go from the control surface from the rear to the servos. All right, and the proper orientation with this is with all the numbers, the embossed numbers, facing forward to the front of the nose of the aircraft, and that will ensure all the proper orientation for the rods, and at the same time for the formers itself. So every single former with the number embossed numbers facing forward will give the proper direction and orientation of the formers. All right, so let's go ahead and get started drilling. So that's one. That's 5. We got 7. We have 2 marks right here. Got 8. Whoops. Forgot to tighten up my drill. There we go. Got 9. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is glue F5 directly to the crutch at the location given on the plan. So F5, you'll see the indicator right there, and then we will go ahead and put this at a 90-degree to the actual crutch itself. Alright, so just like that, and then we'll glue that in. Alright, so I'm going to make sure I kind of center this on the crutch on both sides, while also keeping it 90 degrees to the crutch. Contact here. Okay, that's centered as good as we can. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just come back with some medium CA here and just give it a better joint. Alright. Matter of fact, I think let's just open this up a little bit more. At the thicker part of the, there you go. That's more like it. And I'll just do the both sides here. Just like that. Alright. Alright, and so from here, next thing we're going to be doing is gluing F7 in its proper location. Once again, also being 90 degrees to the actual crutch. So I'm going to be utilizing my square once again. Alright, and then keeping it as centered as you can. Make sure that it's even on both sides. Just like so. I'll go ahead and wick in some thin CA at first, just to hold everything in place. And we could come back with some medium CA to completely secure everything down. Alright. We'll just let that tack up a little. Alright, so from here, this is where you're going to need to make your decision. You can do it later on as well, is to figure out if you're going to do a full cockpit with an actual full figure pilot, or you're just going to do the typical, pilot bus type deal. So if you're going to do the whole full figure pilot, then you're going to have to make the decision to relocate the servo tray, right? Or to relocate the servos, period. So I am thinking that I was going to also do a full cockpit on this particular model, therefore relocating the servos right behind F7. So still utilizing this plate. However, with that said, it's strictly just going to be for the 3 servos. This whole area here I'm going to eliminate, make the notch here so we can go ahead and put this right back here like so. Alright, and then we'll eventually have to form this tray to the back between F7 and F8. Alright, so yeah, now the thing is are we gonna have the room to be able to fit these servos in after it's all constructed? Are we able to fit a screwdriver in there, a Phillips to star screwdriver to properly secure these servos in here, or are we gonna do it before we actually get everything all built up? That right there is something that you're just gonna have to weigh out and figure out and plan ahead. All right, so right now I have no planning on it. I'm still in limbo right now, trying to figure out if I'm going to do it for this 1/7 scale, or am I just going to wait until that one day I decide to do a giant scale and go ahead and do the whole full cockpit and pilot type deal. All right, so I don't know. I'm still leaning towards just doing a pilot bust on this one right here, just for simplicity, but at the same time it's still gonna look good at the end when I do it. Just I always wanted to do an actual full cockpit as well, but I don't know. Decisions, and these are the decisions you're gonna have to make ahead of time. Plan ahead, and I did plan, and I do have the idea of what I'm going to be doing. It's just I don't know if I really want to do it yet. So that's where we're at. All Alright guys, so this is basically what I came up with. So I am going to do the actual full cockpit of the P51, and you know, fun scale type deal, but full pilot figure. Alright, so this is the as you can see right there, right, you can see the plans. You see right there, that is where the location between F5 and F7, the actual servo, right underneath where the pilot would torso and sit and the legs and all that. All right, so that open space, this open bay between 7 and F8 is where I'm going to relocate that servo tray, and it's going to be right there. All right, so that's basically what I'm doing here. Now, how I'm doing that is I'm just going to utilize the servo tray that came with the actual kit, and this is the one that will actually go right in between, you know, here like such. All right, your typical servo tray. So what I'm going to do, as you can see already, what I got going on is I went ahead and I popped that piece back on. I glued that back on there, and then on former F8 I did this. All right, so I put back that that piece to punch out, all right, and I made the notch for the new front piece here to go right in place like that. All right, so to utilize this, I went ahead and plop this on. Since I want this piece to be on this side on F7, I plop that on here like such, right, centered it between F7 right here like so, and flipped it around and traced out the outline. So I don't know if you can see that there, if I'm doing any justice to this. All right, so traced out the outline all the way to the tab to make that little flange area that will fit right into F8. All right, and so from here we will basically extend this out just a tad bit, draw a straight line from there to there, and all this area will basically be cut out. And this would be now considered the new tray that would fit between former F8 and F7, right smack in there. All right, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. All right. guys, so on here I'm on page 31, step number 52. It says use the pattern provided on the plans to cut 2 radiator corners from the 1/4 by 2 inch by 24 soft balsa sheet. So this is basically that sheet. Alright, and what I did was I took that radiator corner, I traced it exactly, and then placed it over here. Alright, so this is the original, my original part that I traced. And so I ended up having to cut a little sliver off of there on the edge, because the template is actually kind of long. Therefore, if you were to use the template dimensions, it's going to go all the way up to there. And so if you flip this over to try to make your second part, you're not going to have enough balsa. See? And so what I did was I actually took the template, brought it over to the aircraft, lined it up as close as I can, still giving a little bit of margin just in case. Alright, so I got it flush here and then a little bit over on here, yet it's almost exact, right? Therefore I went ahead and I used that to make my second side like this. So we know this is good. And so what I did was that sliver I just cut off, now I can go ahead and cut this, and you got the 2 pieces that will fit on that 24-inch length. So just saying, just in case somebody decides to cut it out and they'll be like, hey, this is not gonna work. Well, it'll work, you know, just give or take. Alright. No Z-bend, because I'm going to be doing the retractable tail wheel, so I'm probably gonna have to put another former right in here, and then the retractable tail wheel is gonna go in and come out. So what I did here was I sealed, I didn't punch out any of the lightning holes here. I just kept it sealed. I glued it together, and then I put that 1/64 thin ply over this whole thing to also strengthen this one former, because it all depends on where I'm actually gonna mount that retractable gear, if it's here and then going back, or I'm gonna put it here and then going forward. So we'll see. Well, we will see. All right, guys. So we are back now. Present day, March 29th, 2023, and it's been a while since that last clip. All right, I believe it's been about a year now, right? And so it's been about a year that this aircraft has been just sitting on the back burner. All right, and now we are kind of up to speed based off of this video. All right, so we're up to speed, caught you guys up and where we're at. So, because yeah, so there's a lot of things that we need to catch up on. We need to get back onto the Top Flite P51D Mustang build series, and I know a lot of you were waiting for this, and I've been waiting for it myself. It's just I need to concentrate on it, and I had so much things going on this past year with my mom and being sick, going to the hospital, caring for her, and then eventually her passing. All right, so all that, now everything is back to normal. Everything's, you know, we're doing okay. So here it's just time to move on and get back to what I enjoy. All right, and that is building and flying. All right, so P51D Mustang, we're getting right back into it. There's gonna be a few changes. I'm leaning towards the DLE 20RA now. I was going to do the Sato FG21 4-stroke gas engine. I don't know. I do love the sound of the 4-stroke, but DLE 20RA is much cheaper. So I don't know yet. We're still kind of deciding on that. All right. And eventually we still need to get the Robart retracts, Robart tail retract as well. All right. There's a lot of things we need to purchase prior to, so that we can go ahead and finish up, or at least get started, so that we can start enclosing, like let's say the wing, or finishing up the fuselage and all that stuff. All right. And the time when I was actually building this Robart was really backtracked. They were on a waiting list on the Robart retracts and stuff like that. I am not up to par on what the status is today, 2023. So I need to check that and find out if everything is back to normal on their side, or are we still in back order, or are we still on waiting lists and all that other stuff. All right. Don't know if I'm gonna go electric retracts or air. I'm still also debating on that as well. There's just a lot of things going on for this build that I need to go ahead and situate. I don't know. You guys want me to glass this? Do you guys want me to do monocoat before monocoat basically is no more? All right. And so scale detail and so on, all other stuff. I'd love to do flight metal, but I have not really done that before. It's going to be an experience, and I just don't want to do it on this particular model just yet. So with that said, I might glass it like how we did the P40E Warhawk. All right, I don't know what color scheme, what library I'm going to do, and so I'll come to the idea of doing the Miss America type deal, like I did on my Great Plains P51D Mustang back in 1994-95. All right, this was covered with monocoat. So I don't know yet. Still debating. There's a lot of things, a lot of options, a lot of opportunities for this P51D Mustang. It's just, you know, you only got one shot, unless I got, you know, maybe a few model kits like this laying around, but I only got this one. And so we all got to make the choices, and what the outcome is going to be is going to be based off of those choices. And I'm looking forward to basically knocking out more content for you guys in regards to this and showing you the journey. So sit back, relax, and I will see you on the next video. So catch you guys later. Cheers.